Hi, today we are going to be interviewing Travis Hunt, pastor of Camas Valley Fellowship. He was the main catalyst who started the school, formerly known as Foundation Fellowship,
yeah.
Foundation Academy, now called Calvary Christian Academy. Anything you'd like to add?
I would just like to say it's nice to be here and to see what God has done.
Okay, thank you. So what led you to originally start the school?
Well, first of all, we had a fully functioning academy in Camas that we'd started called CAMAS, Christ's Academy for Missions and Academic Success. And we've been functioning small scale. First of all, it was a response to a moment in time that we all saw the Lord wanted to do something. That's the most important thing. So, Travis Atterbury had been in Camas's church, gotten saved there, been through some tough times in his life, and we'd walk with him and we were good friends. Travis finds himself as the pastor of Foundation, the church, and they have this massive old building. And have you been there?
Yes, a few times actually.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like the echoing halls of a cathedral. It's massive. And he has this building and a small congregation, and he really wants to serve the Lord. Now, I knew Travis. I knew Travis's gift. He'd been struggling. He'd been always bivocational. He worked as well as done ministry at the same time. And we got together, and the crisis. Can you say the word COVID? Is that allowed on the internet now? Is it okay? Is it acceptable?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So COVID, that happened, and the plandemic, some people call it. And everything got locked down, right? And schools were closed. And there's some students lost almost an entire year of education. We're still kind of reeling as people are getting into college. There's still this lack from COVID and the shutdown of education. And so he came to me and said, I really want to serve the Lord. And we've been praying together and talking. And so my favorite verse, one of my favorite verses in the Bible is 1 Samuel 14:6. When Jonathan is headed up to fight the Philistines by himself, and he's got an armor bearer with him, right? They're headed up, and he's like, we'll just kind of say, hey, here we are. And if they say, come up, we'll come up. And 1 Samuel 14:6, these words, it may be that the Lord will work for us. For nothing restrains the Lord from saving by many or by few. That is one of my favorite verses because that's how God does the work. It may be. So Travis and I and a small group began talking about, well, what could we do? What do you want to do? Have you thought about a school? We had a school in Camas. It was a small school, nowhere near the size of this thing, and faithful teachers had volunteered. It was all just voluntary. And so we looked at the building, and he's like, I got this huge building, I want to do something with it. Talked about, they fed some homeless people. They did a feeding of homeless people for a while. And they tried some outreach events. At one point in time, we even did a concert in that building to try and, it's a big building. So what about school? What do you think about a school? And oh my goodness, that's overwhelming, the idea of a school. Well, maybe the Lord will work for us. And so they had an organizational meeting, and this was when COVID was locking down schools, and a lot of people showed up. I don't know how many, a lot of people showed up. And Travis is like, well, who would be willing to help start a school that kept running while all the other schools shut down? And the hands just went up everywhere. And so you can't really say I had a vision for it. It was more along the lines of I had a vision for my brother Travis to be able to do what God has called him to do. And God had called him to work with youth, always had. And so he had a giant building, a ministry for the youth, and we had the experience of running a school. And so I said, well, we'll join you. Start a school, but it's your school. And we will come along and we will put, support around you until your school takes off. And then, as I know one of your questions is, what did I do at that point in time? I taught. I helped them with administration, and I think I taught science. I taught Bible, science, I might have taught history, just whatever. Yeah. Oh, I taught health, a lot of push-ups. We did do a lot of push-ups. I miss that. Just digressing, some of those guys go to Camas Valley from our health class. Aaron Phillips, he got married, and he's a regular attender, and I'm now doing with him what I did with Travis Atterbury, kind of shoving him into ministry, and he's growing. So him and his wife Sydney. Anyways, you'll want to cut some of that.
Once you guys hit that point where you guys decided you wanted to start the school, what were some of the actions you guys first started to like to hit the school part where you like actually start like including students and
the first step really is, what material are we going to teach? But at this point in time, it is so easy to get homeschool material. It is so broad. You could be completely internet based. You could use material that is book based or video based. And we in Camas have been using as a standard, just so it was consistent between grades, Bob Jones University Press. You guys still use that? You do. And so it was a good mix of academic and spiritual, because there are homeschool curriculums that are just straight up intelligentsia, academic. And there are others that are just 100% just Bible, like My Father's World, and the intelligentsia, I'd say, would be a Becca. There's these standards depending on what your goal is. Our goal was discipleship. Always has been, hopefully probably still is. That what good is it if you're really smart and you don't know Jesus? So discipleship was key, and Bob Jones University was a good mix of that. Academic, so you could be, our goal was to make you prepped and capable for anybody who wanted to go to college, they could. And those who didn't want to go to college would have enough of a intellectual or academic background that they could go into a vocational trade and they would be fine. So that was our goal, while maintaining the spiritual component.
Yeah, it's important. If you were given the opportunity to go back and either change something or give yourself a piece of advice back then, what would it be?
I would say do it again. Yeah, I so trust in God's sovereignty that He had picked Travis for this moment, and He had picked COVID. In Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verses 5 and 6, it says, "A wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment, because for every matter there is a time and a judgment." Now, there is doing the right thing, and there's doing the right thing at the right time. And I actually, except for that COVID moment that was created by this crisis, we could not have started from zero and ended up with, how many students we end up with in the first year? 70, 80?
Close to 80.
80 students, 0 to 80.
That's crazy.
Now the problem was, who's going to teach them? Because we were not thinking a dozen kids. This is 80 kids, and the range of the age was huge. So what can anybody teach? And that's where I really saw the hand of God. People volunteered, and suddenly the school became everybody's school. People jumped on board, retired people who were way out of their element but faithful. And it was something. It was fun and exhausting, and we were all stretched beyond our ability. Now you see your school and it's kind of stable, and you probably got retired teachers or even non-retired teachers, and you got administrative staff, and then it was just a bunch of Christians who said, we're going to serve these kids, period. What can we do? And we all did what we could, and God has done a great thing. This is all He requires. 1 Samuel 14:6. It may be that God will work for us.
Yeah. It's I imagine it's very interesting having watched that seed that you sort of helped plant grow into what it is today. But
It's very encouraging. It's very encouraging. As I walked through the halls down below and saw all the students, and Travis came up, I don't know if you heard what I said, look at all this fruit hanging off the vines. The Lord has caused increase. And the Lord gets the glory. Not any man, the Lord. Not any organization, the Lord. How long ago was that? It was 2020, so that was 6 years ago.
We're finishing 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. 6 years of students hearing the gospel, learning about Jesus, and going into the world prepared to defend their faith using academic truth, not propaganda. Being able to defend what is true and how to define what is true. And in your age, truth really has gone kind of by the wayside. It's how you feel, and how you feel in 90 seconds or less. I don't know if you saw that recently there was an article out there that at a major university, there is a school for making movies. What do they call that? It was an arts degree, and it was a film studies. It was film studies, and the professor said he can't even get his university students to complete watching a film. He says they're so used to scrolling, they can't even make it to the end of a normal length film. Yeah, they're just scrolling. That is something you don't want to lose, the ability to slow down, pay attention, and learn as opposed to just respond. Scrolling and social media, respond. And so people say dumb things, like really dumb things, even though it compromises them and everything they're doing, and they wish they hadn't. They still respond instead of thinking and giving a reasoned answer for the question or the topic. Anyways, probably a little more detail than you wanted.
Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting. So considering all of this, everything that you were talking about, do you have any thoughts concerning the school right now? Like about how your opinion on it, where we are here?
I think you guys are moving in a good direction. I will give you a warning. Don't become so successful that you forget your roots. If God blessed it because we were trying to disciple students, now this, I don't know whether this will make the internet or not, because this could be controversial, but almost every Christian school I have seen start from scratch in my lifetime has gone the way of academia. They have left their spiritual roots and they just became a school. They were just a private school, not a spiritual discipleship school, a private school. And with size and with paid staff and with administration and with businesses and buildings, it's really easy to begin to say, okay, our standards used to be prepared for college, deeply spiritual. It's really easy to move towards college. I have not seen any private school, before I finish the sentence, I want to make sure I can say it truthfully. I don't think I've seen any private school become less academic and more spiritual. I've seen 100% less spiritual, more academic. And you probably have seen the same thing, brother. It's the curse of success. Because people will come along and that founding group who was very focused, they were very focused, that founding group has become a much larger advisory group, and wanting your child to have a good education is an important and valuable thing, but it is not the most important and valuable thing, and that sort of slips away. And so that's my warning, is remember from where you came, so that you don't lose that which God has blessed and replace it with an empty shell.
What would your hope for the school be then, as opposed to your warning? What would you hope for us to become?
Deeply spiritual. Because here's what we know. The Lord could return at any moment. Regardless of what you believe about eschatology, Jesus said, you better be ready any moment. If He's ready, and I look around you guys right now, if He's ready, so as we prayed before this video started, if you're ready, then this video is getting you towards the goal of His return. If you're not living that way, then this is busy work, and in fact has stolen God's time from you. So everything you do, that's why Paul said, whatever you do in word or in deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to Him. And so it's really easy in success and busyness, and especially academic pursuit, where you're just grinding through information. It's really easy to forget that. And if you forget that, you will have missed the blessing. Because according to what Scripture says, if you'll teach these things to your children diligently, as you walk by the way, as you lie down, as you rise up, write them on your walls and wear them like platelets hanging from your forehead and on your hand. If you do that, Deuteronomy 28 and 29 says, I will bless you. And Psalm 119:99 says, I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. And the moment that you don't have his testimonies as your meditation, then you will not have more understanding. Jesus is called Logos. Do you know what Logos means?
It's law, right?
Logos can be translated word in John, or accounting, or reckoning, or fact, spiritual, truth, and well, I'll just say truth is spiritual. It is spiritual. Truth is not something that we have come up with as humans. Jesus said, I am the way, and then he used the definite article, the truth. The truth. So as soon as we think truth is relative, or truth is to be found somewhere outside of God and his understanding of the world, we have lost truth. Anyway, so my concern, not my concern, my hope for you would be that this would be a place that receives revival and deep. I would like to see hundreds of missionaries flow out of here. I'd like to see cutting edge biologists who defend the truth against the evolutionary creep. I don't mean the individual, but the creep of evolution. I didn't want to pick anybody out in particular. So that would be my hope, that when you got done, you would say, for me to live is Christ. To really be able to say, for me to live is Christ. Then everything you do, that's what I'm saying about this video, learning the camera, coming up with interviews, talking, listening, growing, praying together, everything you do will lead you to something far beyond your imagination. Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. That's not just heaven. That's here. And I want to tell you, I'm a biologist. I went to college. I spent years doing labs, studying anatomy and physiology, kinesiology, organic chemistry, all of that. I did all of that, and I want to tell you, when the Lord came along and said, I want you now to serve me in ministry, I had to lay all of that education down. And I have been able to see the Lord do miracles worldwide. And I could either do that, or I could be a veterinarian. There is no comparison. So remember that. That would be my hope, that you remember the Lord in all that you do.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. I think that's all the questions I have. It was
Okay.
nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, and may God bless this school.